Good evening, everybody. My name is Tim Athey. I'm the transportation engineer for the town of Holly Springs, and I welcome you to the public pre-construction meeting for the Green Oaks Parkway, New Hill Road traffic signal. I just want to go over real quick the outline for tonight's meeting. We will, the traffic signal construction team will discuss the project schedule and basically what to expect during the construction process. We have 1 hour for this presentation, as well as questions and answers at the end. So please do respect the time, and let's make this happen within that 1 hour time frame. If you are logged into this meeting, you will not be able to speak, but you can ask questions at any time by hitting the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. If you hit that, you can type in a question, and like I said, at the end, we'll go through those questions and answer them for you. Another thing I'd like to bring up is this is an informational meeting for the construction process for this project. So we'd appreciate if you'd keep your questions strictly focused on the construction process and maybe anything that you hear during this presentation. So if you have any driveway problems or speeding problems, we can discuss that at a later time. So let's get started with the presentation. Right now, I'd like to introduce the project team. Again, my name is Tim Athey with the town of Holly Springs. And the contractor for this project is Louis Fulcher. His company is Fulcher Electric, and they will be installing the traffic signals. And also part of this team is Marty Tillman with DRMP. And his team will be responsible for inspection on this project. He will not be responsible for making sure that Fulcher does everything correct on this project, because we already know that they will do everything correct. We're not worried about that. But Marty's main responsibilities will be to make sure that the Ncdot has the necessary information, and they'll also be doing some testing on materials such as concrete. So Marty's DRMP team, like I said, will be responsible. Mainly, he'll be a liaison between the contractor and the Ncdot, because this is an Ncdot traffic signal, and we have to do this. We have to build and construct according to their specifications and standards, and that's where Marty and his team comes in. Okay, here is an overview of Holly Springs, and this is Green Oaks Parkway, and this is Holly Springs Road, which turns into New Hill, and our intersection is right here at the Star. Going to this overview, this bird's eye view, you can again see Green Oaks Parkway, and here's the entrance to the 12 Oaks neighborhood and New Hill Road. And over here is a street view of the intersection as you're looking down New Hill Road. And you can see it's a nice sunny day, just a few clouds in the sky. And man, traffic really looks good. I'm not sure what the problem is, but we all know that when traffic cranks up, this is a very difficult intersection to navigate, especially for those leaving and entering 12 Oaks or trying to turn left onto New Hill Road from Green Oaks Parkway. Again, here's another sky view of the intersection, Green Oaks Parkway leading into 12 Oaks. And I'd like to show you what we plan on installing for this project. We're going to construct 4 traffic signals, one at each corner, which will control each direction of traffic. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that the actual lanes will not be revised. So the lane markings that you see right now and what you see on this overhead will be left as is. The signals will be constructed to navigate and direct each lane for each direction. In addition to the traffic signals, we'll be placing pedestrian walkways. And those pedestrian walkways will have pedestrian signals. And as you can see, when this project is complete, not only will this intersection be much safer for vehicular traffic, but it'll also be much safer for the pedestrian traffic as well. So let's look at our schedule. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, sorry about that. So our schedule is going to basically start in February and March. And what we're going to start with will be the Ncdot approvals. We have to submit designs to the Ncdot. And you may be asking the question, I thought the plans were already designed and approved. And while that is true, because signal projects are a little different than any other construction project, we have to submit a design for the actual traffic signal pole and the mast arm. And what we're looking at here is the actual design for our traffic signals. These were made by the manufacturer and submitted to the Ncdot. And another bit of good news about this is these stamps represent that these have been approved by the Ncdot. So we are already ahead of the game in the approval of our mast arms and our signal poles. Now, another part of the approval process is the concrete foundation design. And what we have to do for the concrete foundation design is actually get soil borings so that we can test the soil, and that helps us design the concrete foundations. Once we have a design made, we have to submit that to the Ncdot for approval as well. Now, as I said, we have our pole and our mast arm design approved, so we're ready to submit the manufacturing of these poles. And this manufacturing will basically determine our schedule. It can be a long process. It can be maybe a couple, 2 or 3 month process. It all depends on the current market. And we believe right now, thanks to COVID, that it will be a quick process considering past experiences. Now let's look into the month of April. In April, we're going to pour the concrete foundations, assuming that we have an approved design from the DOT. And that consists of the contractor Fulcher augering the holes and pouring concrete for the foundations. Next, we're going to install any underground electric for the signals. And we're going to install any hardware that would be available at the time, whether it's above ground or below ground. And one thing that I want to specify and make clear is because we have to wait on the approval and manufacturing of our poles, there will be a lag time or there will be a time of 1 or 2 months where you may not see anybody on site working. The first thing you should see on site will be a crew getting our soil borings for testing. And then come April, so a few months later, then you'll see crews back where they'll start building the foundations and installing the underground electric. So I just want to make clear that there may be times where it looks like nothing's happening, And that may be true, but the reason is we're waiting for the manufacturer of our poles and for our mast arms. So let's look at May. In May, if all goes according to plan, we're going to set the poles and the mast arms. We're going to install the pedestrian crossing signals and the associated wiring that goes with it. And we're going to connect the signals to the town-wide fiber network. So in June, we're hoping that the bulk of our work will be done, which would leave us to pavement markings, which is needed for the pedestrian crossings, and probably a little bit of striping and maybe fixing up an arrow or two. And then the final thing will be to turn on the signals. They'll start on the flashing mode, and we'll keep those flashing for say 7 to 10 days. And the purpose of that is to warn or familiarize people with the new traffic signal, so that they don't just blow through the intersection because that's what they're used to. And after that 7 to 10 day period, we'll put the signal into the full use, where it'll be a fully signalized intersection. Now, this is a very aggressive schedule, and again, it's all dependent on manufacturing and approvals, but we think that with the current market, it's achievable. So right now, as part of the wrap-up, I want to open the floor to Marty Tillman with DRMP and Louis Fulcher if they have anything that they'd like to add. Go ahead, gentlemen.
First, I'd like to thank all you folks for joining us to gather this information up front, and ask that you pass it along to any of those who are not able to attend. A couple of things I want to ask is, obviously we'll be working at this intersection, and Lewis's crews will be out there. And if there's any way during the time he's working, if y'all can use alternate entrances and exits, it will be beneficial both to you and to his crews and safer for everyone. So just keep that in mind for the purpose of safety. Now, the intersection will be open to traffic. You can come and go, but keep in mind there may be times where you're delayed somewhat because he's got crews out there in the road and they've got to flag traffic. So just keep that in mind. Like I say, if you can use an alternate entrance, please do so. The stop bars, when they're installed, they have to be placed behind the crosswalks. So once the signal is placed in operation, you may notice that, you know, hey, I can pull up a little further here so I can see. Well, if you do that and you get beyond that stop bar, that signal will not detect your vehicle, and you will not get the signal to change. You'll sit there until another vehicle comes up either behind you or on one of the side legs. So there again, just be aware of those stop bars. The purpose for them is to stop you within the limits of the loops that will be sawn into the pavement. Once again, I just want to reiterate, there could be downtime with Lewis's crews because they're going to come in, they're going to do everything that's available to them up front. But if those poles are not manufactured in time, he'll have to pull out until those poles are completed. As soon as those poles come in, he'll erect those, connect everything, and let y'all have the intersection. Another thing I want to mention, I look at everything when I do a road as this is my family. And too many times people put a lot of trust in a signal. This is a new signal, and you're going to have people that are not used to it. And just because you got a green light, look and make sure there's nothing coming. Nobody's going to blow through that light. I was at an intersection here. I'm in Ashburn, and I was at an intersection here yesterday. The signal had been there for 20 years, and I had the green light, and I started to pull out, and I looked, here come a van, the guy's talking on the phone. He blew through the intersection 45 miles an hour. Had I went when the green bulb was given to me, I'd have been in a T-bone, and it probably would not have resulted very well. So I just mentioned those things. A lot of you all have young kids that are out driving, and you need to mention that to them. Even though the light is green, check both directions before you pull out. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Some very important information. I appreciate that. One thing that I do want to remark on is this meeting is being recorded, so the town will post this on the website, and we'll see if there are some maybe some Facebook sites we can post to as well. But so if you know somebody who missed this meeting would like to watch, there is hope. And also, if there's something that you want to go back and listen to or look at, you can do it that way as well. Secondly, again, if you have any questions, please hit the Q&A button and type in your question. We're getting pretty close to the Q&A session, so make sure your questions are in, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. And in closing, if there are any concerns during this process, if there are any field concerns, in other words, during the construction process, if you see something going on that you're concerned about, or maybe you just have a question, please call David Summers with the Town of High Springs, and his telephone number is next to his name. Or if you have general concerns, anytime between now and the end of this project, please feel free to call me, and I'll do my best to help you out with any questions or concerns.